You made your first signing of the January window this week. Mark, what will he bring to you?
Yeah, really pleased. Vastly experienced football player, great character, great work ethic. Obviously, he was a big favourite at the previous club that he was at, down on the south coast, and he's been promoted from this division. He knows what it's like, and what it does, it adds to the other three wingers that we've got. He can play on both sides, and he can play in the 10 position, but he's a talented football player and a very good human being with a great work ethic and character, so we're delighted about that.
How did this move come about? Is he a long-standing target of yours?
There's a lot of players that we talk about and we look at. We've got a recruitment department at the football club headed up by Lee Darnborough, and obviously there's a lot of scouts that go out, and we look at a lot of players. Obviously I've played against him many times before. We've managed against him many times before, and he's always been a massive threat. So there's players that you're aware of, and the opportunity arose for us to bring a player in from a Premier League club, although it's not featured as much as she. Scored an excellent goal the other day in the FA Cup for them. He's a talented football player, so the opportunity was there. I'm really pleased that he's been able to come and join us.
You spoke about experience. Is that something that you feel we're short in?
We wanted to strengthen the wider areas. Listen, Jared Bowen and Camille Grzycki have been outstanding for us. They're in great form, but likewise, sometimes you've got to think we've got another, at the time, 20 games, 18 games to go. Can they keep that up all the way through? You always want competition for places, and you've got to cover the situations that might happen through an injury, for example, or during the course of the game you want to go and change it. So David Milinkovic has come back into the fold as well. He's been training really well. He's been involved on the bench in the last 2 games. So for me, we've now got four players who can play in the wide positions on either flank. So I'm really pleased with that.
Mark's not played a lot of football this season. Is he ready for Saturday, or do you have to be patient with him?
No, he's really fit. We've obviously got all the GPS data. He's played all the 23s games, obviously the cup games, training down there. So we've seen the intensity that he's trained at, because they do that really well with Eddie down in Bournemouth. And we see all the data. He's trained with us on Tuesday. It was a tough session on Tuesday, and he was banging there. So fitness-wise, no issues whatsoever.
Okay. A week to go this time next week. The transfer deadline will be coming fast. Where do you stand with strengthening further?
We're looking to bring another couple in. Said that all the way through. I was hoping we would have got one over the line yesterday. It was a long day yesterday, but we'll wait and see. But this is the week that most deals are done in the last 2 days. So this is the week that we always know when I look back over the years. This is a week of little sleep, lots of phone calls, lots of decisions to be done, and lots of trying to make things happen in a positive way.
Yeah. Is it as simple as you just need a new central defender and a new centre forward? Is that the only thing you're thinking about?
Well, I've talked about us wanting to bring a centre half in. You know, we had a medical for Matthew Connolly. Unfortunately, that doesn't look as though it's going to material. But I am looking to bring another centre half in to bolster the squad of players that we've got. I think that's important. And again, for me, I've highlighted we're in good form. We've got a group of players who are having a real good go. We're 8th in the division. You know, we're in the race. It's a tall order, we know that, but we're in the race. Let's be optimistic about it. And I'm looking to add a couple to the spirit and the camaraderie and the hard work ethic that the lads have got, the goals that we score, to see if we can stay in this race and push it as far as we can.
In your discussions with Bournemouth, was Tyrone Mings' name ever brought up? Is he someone you're looking at?
I didn't speak with Eddie about Tyrone, but obviously Tyrone Mings was a player that, obviously with Mepham going in from Brentford, was then become available. We've realised that there's a lot of clubs who are after him, so whether he moves or doesn't move, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, if you can imagine players, transfer fees, Premier League club wages, the whole package of things that go round, I would think it's unlikely, but obviously he's a player that we did talk about. We did make inquiries about. We've made inquiries about a lot of players, and then likewise you're probably going to ask me about a lot more players, and maybe we make inquiries about what's the situation, and then all of a sudden an agent might turn around and say, all right, you're interested in him. I said, no, we're just finding out where people are, because we've got to look at, as you said, we just talked about Mark there, where are they physically, where are they from a point of view being able to come out and play for us. Then there's a transfer fee, then there's a wage, then there's a loan fee, then there's an agent fee, So you're just trying to gather as much information as possible. So just asking questions doesn't actually mean that you're going to sign them, but you're gathering as much information as possible about all players at all levels. So yes, we did talk about Tyrone, answering your question on that one.
Just one other name, Michael Smith at Rotherham was linked. Is he someone you will look to sign? Or?
We won't be looking to sign him, but yeah, he's another player that's been linked. We've looked at all the strikers in all the divisions, not just in this country, because it's important. As I said, we've got a recruitment department. We're trying to build a recruitment department that we're ahead of the game, but we're aware of all players that are out there and where they are at that moment in time. And as I said, things that are happening now, obviously, big centre forward at Rotherham, leading the line for them, scored some goals, very important for the way they go and play. Big threat, and obviously from that point of view he'll command a very, very big transfer fee, even if you were interested in doing him.
Just keeping it vague, what type of striker would you like to bring in before next week's deadline?
Good one. Hey, keeping it vague. Come on, Verzi, you liked that one as well, didn't you? Listen, listen. You know, the physicality. Listen, I'm really pleased. Fraser Campbell has had a great season. Chrissy Martin is getting better and better. I would have loved to have had Fraser Campbell on the pitch in the last game against Aston Villa. We were short on markers, set plays. 30% of goals come from set plays. We were really short and struggling. We conceded one just on half time against Aston Villa. You're managing the game for the last 10-15 minutes of the game where you are. Chris was an important marker from that point of view. Needed to keep him on the pitch, but I would love to have got Fraser on the pitch. So for me, we got two strikers who are good at this division, who are good at this level, who are getting better and really doing well for us. And then we've got Nuadiko as well, who gives us a different threat. You know, he's got that bit of pace to go in there. We've been playing one mainline striker and one off. So at times I've played both Fraser and Chrissy Martin together. It's fair to say that maybe it just hasn't worked as well as we would have liked because of where they are with it. But there's not to say that, you know, Fraser came on when we scored 6 goals the other day. You know, so it complemented it well. But in that game there, I needed to keep Chris on the pitch because Sheffield Wednesday had the size of their team, and obviously when Nuhu came on up front alongside Fletcher, that was giving us big problems. Then when Fletcher came off, obviously relieved that a little bit more, but Fraser had done well. Small little intricacies, people aren't interested in that, but we've got 2 strikers, Nuadiko, 3 strikers doing really, really well. And then we got a few players who play in the 10 position just off them.
You spoke about budgets at the start of the month. Does that still ring true? Do you not anticipate having money to spend before next week?
I spent virtually all day at the stadium yesterday with the owner. I went down to see him, and again, just emphasising the point. There's a week to go. We're in with a shout. It's a long shout. We know that, but we're in with a shout. There's the state of play. So it's great that the owners have come out and made the statement that we're not looking for any of the key players to go. And everyone's clear about that. They're staying. We're trying to add to it. So we're really pleased with that. We want to bring a few in, but they've got to be the right ones we've got to try and get in. And again, I think it's been a quiet market so far in terms of generally across the transfer window in January. And likewise, when you look at it, normally there's not many good deals that go on in January. There's normally some very, very expensive deals that go on in January. So we are actively working to bring some more players in to bolster what is a good squad of players that are in form.
But loans rather than buying players.
Well, I'd say it's got to be the right deal. Listen, a loan is just the same as buying somebody now. You know, you go and take somebody. So we inquired about a player at a Premier League club, and the loan fee was dearer than what you'd pay for a transfer fee. So a loan's just the same as buying somebody. The only issue is when you're loaning somebody, you're not actually got him permanently. So the money side of it, breaking it all down, is not sometimes the biggest issue.
Just follow on transfer, just to double check, no approaches for any of your players?
No. It's really good. I mean, I think we've made the statement, so everybody's clear that where we are with it. But obviously, we now come in towards the final week. We'll see what materialises during that. And it's an exciting bit. Loads of speculation will go on, and we'll see what materialises. But we're not looking to lose any of the key players. The spirit amongst the guys are good, they're training well. We're looking to add. We're really pleased we got Mark Pugh in. We tried to bring Matthew Connolly in, so therefore it's clear to see we want to bring another defender in to cover that situation. And likewise, you can never have enough forwards, although, forwards want to play.
Injuries. Your device fit this weekend or not?
We'll see. Geordie obviously came off at the weekend, same as Jared Bowen, so we'll give them every opportunity. The one player who missed out last week was John Terrell. I think this time last week we said that John was going to be fit, because I was going to go with the same team and the same bench that played against Sheffield Wednesday. John picked up a bit of a groin injury on the Friday, so he dropped out. So we're nurturing him through this week. Hopefully, I'm not going to involve him at the weekend, but hopefully he'll be fine after that.
Sorry, after the Villa game, you said 2 weeks for your device. Is that still a fair assessment?
We'll see. We've, I said sometimes normally with a soft tissue injury, you've got that. When we finish this media conference, we'll have a medical update with everybody, and then on the back of that medical update, we'll decide what the team's going to be for the weekend and the impact off the bench.
Have you been able to train this week?
Well, it's like a lot of people. There's different ways of training, so you know what I mean. We'll see.
What are your options should Geordie not be fit? Is it a straight shout between Andre Mazuk and Robbie McKenzie?
We've got Andre and we've got Robbie and we've got young Lewis Ritson and Rhys Burke. So there's the main line centre halves that we've got in that position. So again, from my point of view, as I've highlighted, we've looked to bring another defender in, ideally an experienced one, because we've got some really good young players here. But we'll see what materialises.
You've gone with Robbie ahead of Andre on the bench. There's no fitness concerns with Andre in recent weeks, is there?
Listen, you look at it, Andre's done really well. He's come in and he played, and then he lasted, I think it was the Swansea game, he had 45 minutes. We had to take him out and then we put him back in again. He's had a big long history of situations, but he's training regular now, which is good. Really pleased with Robbie McKenzie. Two different types of player. Robbie's obviously very, very quick, and it can allow us to play further up the field of play. And a young lad who we want, there's a pathway for the youngsters to come through the system. And, it's another game that he's been involved in at the weekend. We look at Aston Villa as well. The threats that they had at the weekend, the three frontline players, extremely quick. And obviously with Abraham, very big as well. So we sat back and allowed them to put the balls in the box. They had more crosses than anybody in the division. That was obviously going to cause us a big problem. So from a point of view of having Robbie on the bench with the speed, the idea was to try and stay higher up the pitch to stop them putting the ball in the box to nullify Abraham, but likewise have the pace to as best as possible to deal with the ball that goes over the top. So Robbie being really quick was the option that I went with when we looked at the balance of the squad.
Just to double check, no fresh injury concerns this week?
No, as I said, just the two lads that went off at the weekend, and John Terrell that leaves Angus MacDonald and James Weir as the other ones in the rehab department. So, but spirit's been good, training's been good. Pleased.
I'd like to talk about yourself, your contract situation. Has there been any talks about extending it beyond the end of this season?
No, there hasn't, but that's not an issue. I'm under contract. It's not a problem. I've started planning pre-season. We're back on the 24th of June. First game of the season's the 3rd of August. So we'll do a couple of days testing, then we'll have a couple of training camps. So for me, listen, contracts are contracts. Andy Crosby's outstanding. From my point of view, I just get on and do the job.
Fair to say you're quite relaxed about it all?
I am. I just get on and do the job. So as I said, from my point of view, forward planning for pre-season. All the focus is obviously this week now with the transfer window as well. You're trying to get that right. I'm trying to keep smiles on people's faces. We've got a real good culture and environment down here at the training ground. Players come in and work hard. They enjoy it. There's a good camaraderie. We're looking for a development, a pathway for the youngsters to come through the academy. I want the staff to do well. So we're in a good place. The culture's good. So I'm enjoying the role that I have. I'm enjoying being here. And for me, I've been in football long enough to know what contracts are and aren't. I'm just doing the job and I'm enjoying it. And as I said, I've already just alluded to the planning for pre-season. So that's where my mindset is, that's where my focus is. I don't need to get bogged down with contract talks.
No, when would you hope to sit down then? Because you'd like to think long term.
Well, I am thinking long term. With what we're doing with the culture that we have at the football club, the pathway for the youngsters, obviously I've just alluded to pre-season there. That's up to the owner, you know. But likewise, we talk to players who are out of contract. You know, focus on what you can control, and that's doing your job, and that's what we're doing.
Is there any provision for like a 12-month extension or anything like that within the contract that you've signed? Or?
No, my contract's up on the whatever date it is, but...
I suppose we're worried because for all it's been going great this season, they're worried that come the summer there might be another scenario where it's...
Like it was last summer. Well, that's a potential, isn't it? As I said, you need longevity at a football club. You want to have plans and structures in place. That's what you ideally want to go and do. But likewise, we all know sometimes you can go and sign a 10-year contract. If you lose 3 or 4 games, you're out anyway.